You've probably already seen the headlines circling around the star, and yeah, they're heating up. Donovan Wilson, one of the longest tenured players on this Dallas Cowboys defense, might actually be on the chopping block. Let that sink in for a second. The same Donovan Wilson who's been flying around the secondary for the last 6 seasons, laying hits, making splash plays, and serving as one of the emotional leaders of the defense, could be gone before the 2025 season even kicks off. And this isn't just wild speculation, this is coming straight from inside the building, from credible sources like Nick Harris over at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Nick dropped a depth chart breakdown recently, and he called Wilson a bubble player. Not a lock, not even likely safe, a bubble player. That's the kind of label you usually see on guys fighting for the last 2 spots on the 53-man roster, not a veteran with 80 tackles and a history of impact plays. But here's the thing, Wilson is entering a contract year, and cutting him would save the Cowboys $7 million in cap space. And for a team that's already got big financial decisions to make, especially around guys like Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons, every million matters. Now look, we know Wilson missed some off-season work recovering from knee surgery, and that's opened the door for other guys to shine in his absence. But once camp kicked off, by all accounts, he came out aggressive, flying around and trying to silence the noise. Still, the conversation didn't go away. That tells you a lot about what the front office is thinking. If it were just about Wilson's talent, this wouldn't even be a conversation. So let's be honest, this is about value, production, and depth. And I know what some fans might be saying right now. If they really wanted to cut him and save that money, why not do it after June 1st when the cap hit would be lighter? That's a fair point, but the Cowboys didn't use either of their to post-June 1st designations, so technically, they could still move on from him and get the exact same cap benefit now as they would have weeks ago. It's not about the calendar, it's about the confidence they have in the younger guys. Or maybe it's about how they think Wilson fits or doesn't fit into Mike Zimmer's new defensive system. So I want to know what you think. If it were up to you, what would you do? Drop a K in the comments if you think the Cowboys should keep Donovan Wilson, or a C if you think it's time to cut him and roll with the young guys. And be honest, this is a safe space for real Cowboys fans to speak their mind. And while you're down there in the comments, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. We are so close to our next milestone, 15,000 subscribers, and every single one of you helps us get there. If you love content like this, daily updates, honest takes, and all the behind-the-scenes drama from inside the Cowboys locker room, this is the place to be. Smash that like button so we can push this video out to even more Cowboys Nation fans who need to hear what's really going on. Alright, but hold up, this thing with Wilson? It's not just about him, it's about who's waiting behind him. Because the truth is, Donovan Wilson's future with the Cowboys might not come down to what he can or can't do, it might come down to how confident the team feels about the guys behind him. And right now, that confidence seems to be growing fast. We're talking about a wave of young, hungry safeties who are already making noise in camp and OTAs. Let's start with Juanyeh Thomas. This guy has quietly become a serious factor. He's not just making plays on defense, he's becoming a core special teams piece too. And you know how much coaches love guys who contribute in multiple phases of the game. Then you've got Marquise Bell, who already earned a multi-year extension. That tells you the front office sees something in him. They're investing in his future. He's physical, fast, and has that versatility that Mike Zimmer loves in his safeties. Bell can drop down in the box, cover tight ends, play deep. He's the type of chess piece defensive coordinators crave. And then there's the wild card Elijah Clark, a rookie free agent that most people outside of Cowboys Nation haven't even heard of. But inside the building, there's real buzz. The team gave him a decent signing bonus for a UDFA, which already says a lot, and now, the reports out of Oxnard are that Clark is turning heads. He's got size, speed, and instincts. The kind of physical profile that, with a good camp and preseason, could force his way not just onto the practice squad, but maybe the active roster. If these guys step up and shine in the next few weeks, the coaching staff may start to feel like they can roll with a younger, cheaper, and more versatile safety group. Remember, this isn't just about talent. It's about role, upside, and fit. The Cowboys might be asking themselves, why pay $7 million for a safety who's not clearly our best when we've got hungry guys flashing every day at camp? And listen, I get it. Wilson brings experience, he brings attitude. He's one of those emotional spark plugs on defense. But you also have to weigh that against the inconsistency. There have been stretches, especially last season, where he got beat in coverage, missed tackles, or just looked a step slow. And when you've got fresh legs behind you bringing speed and energy, the margin for error shrinks real quick. Let me throw this question to you, straight up. If these young guys continue to ball out during training camp, would you feel comfortable moving on from Wilson? Or do you think his leadership and presence are still too valuable to lose? Drop your answer in the comments. And while you're at it, here's another one. Should the Cowboys bring in a safety from outside if they cut Wilson? Vote below yes or no, and let's see where Cowboys Nation stands on this. And hey, if you're enjoying the breakdown so far, don't forget hit that like button. It's a small click that makes a huge difference for the channel. And if you're not subscribed yet, this is your chance. We're here every day breaking down real stories like this, no fluff, no spin. Just real talk about your team. Hit subscribe and help us reach that 15K mark. Now, while the safety room is drawing attention, there's another player on offense quietly slipping down the depth chart. Let's talk about the tight end room and one surprising name who's making a real push. Alright, now let's flip it to the offense, specifically the tight end room, because there's a quiet storm brewing there too. And if you haven't been paying attention, you might miss just how serious it is. I'm talking about Luke Shoemaker, the former second-round pick out of Michigan, a guy the Cowboys invested serious draft capital in. His roster spot might be safe for now, but his role, that's looking anything but guaranteed. Nick Harris called Shoemaker safe in his tight end depth chart analysis, but even he made it clear that things are getting uncomfortable for the young tight end. The problem, Brevin Sponford, an undrafted free agent from Minnesota who's been steadily rising since the offseason began. This is the guy nobody expected to challenge for a top role, and yet here he is, pushing hard for the TE to spot behind Jake Ferguson. And here's the wild part. It's not just media buzz. This is coming straight from inside the facility. Coaches are praising Sponford. Offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer even said the guy has already made the jump this offseason. That's not coach speak for we like him. That's code for he's already ahead of expectations and making our decisions harder. Meanwhile, what have we heard about Shoemaker? Crickets, not a whole lot of hype, not a lot of excitement. And that's disappointing when you consider the Cowboys spent a second-round pick on him for a tight end that's supposed to be a premium investment. You don't spend the kind of draft capital on a guy and expect him to be a backup in year two, especially not behind an undrafted rookie. So now we've got a full-blown camp battle on our hands. Ferguson is locked in at TE1, no question, but for TE2, it's wide open. Sponford is big 6 even, 270 pounds, that's offensive tackle size. He's a physical presence, a strong run blocker, and someone the coaches clearly believe in. Shoemaker, on the other hand, is the more athletic player. He was supposed to be the guy who could stretch the field and develop into a complete tight end. But that development, we haven't really seen it take off yet. So I've got a question for you. Who would you rather have as the Cowboys' second tight end? Drop ABSF in the comment if you're riding with Brevin Sponford, or LS if you still believe Luke Shoemaker can turn things around. And again, if you like having this level of detail on the roster battles that could shape the 2025 Cowboys season, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and make sure your notifications are turned on. We're not just throwing out hot takes, we're breaking it all down like real fans of this team. Help us hit 15,000 subscribers so we can keep growing this Cowboys news TV community. But don't go anywhere, because coming up next we're taking a deeper look at Sponford's rise and how he might actually fit better in this offense than people realize. So let's talk more about Brevin Sponford, because this dude is becoming a real story at Oxnard. He's not just a big body with upside, he's turning heads. Every report out of camp mentions his size, his strength, and most importantly his improvement, and that's what coaches want to see. Not just talent, development. Sponford came into the league with potential, but also with clear flaws. He struggled with consistency as a pass catcher at Minnesota. That's probably what kept him from getting drafted despite having day-to traits. But the Cowboys clearly saw something in him. They brought him in, gave him an opportunity, and from what we're hearing, he's taking full advantage of it. He's been showing real signs of growth, especially in the blocking game. And let's be honest, that TE to spot in Dallas isn't just about catching the football. It's about doing the dirty work, run blocking, sealing the edge, chipping on pass protection. This team wants to run the ball more in 2025. Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer want that physical identity. And right now, Sponford might actually be the better fit for that kind of role than Shoemaker. Let's break it down. Sponford is 6'7", weighs 270 pounds, and plays with leverage. That size makes a difference in the red zone, on short yardage, on special teams. He's the kind of player who creates mismatches, not just because of what he can do with the ball, but because of how hard he is to move when he's blocking. Shoemaker, on the other hand, was drafted to be that guy. A do-it-all tight end who could block and catch. But when you turn on the tape or even check the PFF grades, his blocking hasn't lived up to expectations. That doesn't mean he can't improve, but right now, Sponford looks more ready to contribute in the role this offense actually needs. And here's the thing, we've heard actual praise from coaches about Sponford. Not speculation, not potential, real production. Schottenheimer said the leap is already there. That's not a compliment you give lightly. That's a signal they're watching, they're taking notice. And if this trend continues into the preseason, we could see a full-on changing of the guard at that backup tight end spot. So now I want to know, did the Cowboys make a mistake drafting Shoemaker in the second round? Or is it just a slow development curve? And more importantly, did they find a gem in Sponford? Sound off in the comments, tell me if you think he deserves the Tata job, or if you still believe Shoemaker just needs a little more time. And hey, if you want us to make a full video breakdown just on Sponford's game and what makes him a sleeper to watch this year, let me know in the comments. We're here to bring the content you care about, and your feedback drives the next upload. So hit that like button if you're enjoying this kind of inside the roster content, and subscribe if you haven't already. We're pushing for 15,000 subscribers and we're almost there. Every click matters. Coming up, we're going to pull all of this together, because what the Cowboys decide to do with Wilson, Shoemaker, Sponford, and the rest of these bubble players could set the tone for the entire 2025 season. So let's take a step back and look at the big picture, because none of these decisions are happening in a vacuum. What the Cowboys choose to do with Donovan Wilson and Luke Shoemaker sends a message to the locker room, to the fans, and to the rest of the league. This team is evolving, it's younger, faster, and under Mike Zimmer, maybe even more disciplined. But to get there, some tough calls have to be made. With Wilson, it's not just about his contract. It's about whether the Cowboys truly believe in their next wave of safeties. If Juan Thomas, Marquise Bell, and Elijah Clark show they're ready for bigger roles, the team might decide that experience is a luxury they can't afford, especially at $7 million for a backup. And if Wilson isn't starting, that's exactly what he becomes, a $7 million insurance policy. Can a team that still hasn't locked down long-term deals for ceedee, Doc, or Micah afford that? That's the dilemma, and with Shoemaker, it's about how much patience the front office is willing to have. They spent a second-round pick on him. That's a big investment. But it only matters if the return is there. Right now, Brevin Sponford is earning reps, and reps matter. Especially when you're building a 53-man roster with very limited room for error. If Sponford continues to shine in camp and preseason, the Cowboys are going to have a real decision to make, not just about TE2, but about the role of draft capital versus performance. Look, this team is trying to win now. No more moral victories. No more maybe next year. If you're gonna take that next step, you have to reward production. You have to ride the hot hand. You have to get value out of every roster spot. And sometimes that means letting go of familiar names in favor of new ones who are simply doing more. So I'm putting it to you, if you were Jerry Jones or Will McClay, what would you do? Would you ride with the youth movement and cut Donovan Wilson? Would you give T2 to Sponford and risk making your second-round pick a backup in year 2? These are the decisions that define seasons. These are the battles that happen before week 1 ever kicks off. Drop your take in the comments right now. Be the GM for a second. Keep or cut Donovan Wilson, TE2, Sponford, or Shoemaker? No wrong answers, just real talk between fans who love this team. And before you go, if you've been rocking with us through this video, first off, thank you. You're the reason this channel keeps growing. But if you haven't yet, subscribe right now, turn on that notification bell. We're so close to 15,000 subscribers, and we're dropping Cowboys content every single day. Deep dives, injury updates, camp battles, and insider buzz. This is the spot for real Dallas Cowboys fans, and hit that like button on your way out. It helps the channel, and it helps get this video to more fans like you who need to be part of the conversation. This season is full of big questions, but one thing's for sure, we'll be here every step of the way, covering it all.